Hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are on episode 20 of Moriarty the Patriot. Oh my gosh! So we have episodes 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. We're on the last 5 episodes. I can't believe we're getting into the home stretch of this. And last episode was really, really good. I like Whiteley. We got connected to our new character, Adam Whiteley, who's this MP who is trying to make change in Parliament. And, you know, it's not as easy as it looks. But he's this big white knight figure that Moriarty has taken an interest in. And he has a little brother, Sam, who's in a wheelchair. And he has a physical handicap. And, of course, he is the target of Milverton and his men because they want to drag the White Knight down. This larger-than-life, colossal, righteous figure, they want to drag him down into the depths of hell with the rest of them. Very Harvey Dent-ish. I'm not about it, but this is Act 2, so we're going to see if it's going to be a 2-parter or a 3-parter as we go into these final episodes. But I really like Whiteley's character, and he is a good person. And my fear in all of this is that he's going to get drugged down to William and Milverton's level, and he won't be the White Knight anymore. That's my fear. Because we think from the onset that Sherlock is the White Knight, but Sherlock's like a Black Knight. Like he's chaotic good. He's not the lawful good that Lestrade is, or that this Whiteley guy looks like he is. But I don't know, y'all. I don't know what to expect. I am really sad that we're entering the last couple of episodes, though. I'm gonna read the manga after this, definitely. I probably won't be doing reactions to the manga because it's so interwoven into the anime already, but I do plan to read the manga after this at some point and then compile like a soapbox or a video talking about the manga and the arcs that were left out. That's my plan, right? But I've really come to like this second season or the second core. Like from episode 17 on, 17, 18, 19 have all been 3 really good episodes. And the episodes leading up to them were really good, but 17, 18, 19 in particular have been some of my favorites. I mean, I like the Noatic and all that stuff at the beginning when they first met Sherlock. That's great. But the last couple of episodes have been really, really good. So I'm like, okay, what are we going to do with Whiteley's character, and how is it going to tie into the rest of the plot leading into the finale? That's the question. If Whiteley's character is going to be something that ends off here or in the next episode, or if it's something that will carry on to the finale. Because I thought that Irene and Bond's character I thought that once Irene became Bond, that would be the end of her character in this series, but it's not been. So very curious. I'm going to be interested to see what happens, but let's not waste any more time, shall we? We are going to dive in to episode 20 of Moriarty the Patriot, and we're going to do so here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Okay. Oh my gosh. This episode was grisly. This episode went there. It's been gruesome, and y'all have told me that the manga is really bloody and gory, which is fine. I did not think they'd go like they did. They really were like, nope, gonna kill this, straight up murder this child, and we're gonna go with that. Man, there were so many different directions I thought this was gonna go, and it did not go the way that I thought it would. Interesting. So basically the Moriarty plan is that we're going to get all of London against the Lord of Crime. And then he's like, we're going to peace out from there. And Lord of Crime, because he's talked about him and his brothers dying for the cause. Like, we're going to die out. Now, the question is, are they really going to die, or are they just going to go into seclusion, like hide out in the countryside or something and be like an urban legend, right? And the Moriarty brothers are going to die, but they're actually going to live like out in a shanty in the country or something, right? Maybe, who knows? But the idea is that they're basically going to pin all of London against the Lord of Crime, and then that's going to bring all the people together and start a revolution. And Whiteley is the catalyst. He is the martyr, and he died as the savior of London. And everybody's now... It's funny because in the last episode, people were like either for him or against him, and he didn't have this great reputation. But now that he's been assassinated, everybody's going to be like, he made that big impassioned speech about fighting for the good of London, and then he was killed, which he was going to take his own life anyway. Man. But this episode... So yeah, Milverton is interesting. And the whole thing with Sam, the whole thing with his brother from the start was that he just wanted to spend more time with him. He just wanted him to stop what he was doing and spend more time with him. He's like, you don't have to. That's the sad part, is that Sam's like, you don't have to change the world for me. You just have to be here for me. That's the sad thing. The tragedy in all this is Sam's like, I just want you with me at my side. He's like, I just don't want you to go away. That'd be more than enough for me. He's like, you don't have to make all these laws and everything. If you're just here with me as my brother, that's all that matters. That's so sad, because then they get separated and he gets killed, and it's very sad. So Patterson's in on all of this too. So he understands what Moriarty's plan is too. And God, this whole thing. So we find out the officer was set up. Like everybody, Milverton, the king of blackmail. Of course he is. He runs the paper. Of course he's the king of blackmail. Like, you can't blackmail a blackmailer, right? But he was basically framing the guard because the guard needed money for his sick mother. So he framed the guard and be like, you're going to kill this guy and then I'll give you money to help your mom. The sad thing is he goes to meet Milverton. I thought for a second he was going to go meet Moriarty. Like he was worried about what was going to go on and he was going to find Moriarty, but that doesn't make sense now. And so Fred was staked out. I was trying to get the layout in the episode of what was going on, and Fred was staked out in the house next door to make sure that nobody snuck in to kill Sam. But surprise, Sturridge was being blackmailed from the start too. And poor Marcus getting killed. The other officer, I'm assuming, got killed too. But him having to go. That's awful. And then he meets up with Milverton in the darkness. Charles Augustus Milverton. Milverton is like, he's so slimy. He's just so gross, right? He is pure evil. Yeah, Moriarty's like lawful evil, and Milverton is like just true evil. Like he's just, and Bond knows who he is. Bond knows Milverton. So now William's going to know who they're up against because Bond knows. Bond's like, what's he doing here? So Bond knows who Milverton is and probably knows his reputation. So Bond is going to go tell Moriarty and William and Albert and them, and they're going to figure out what the deal is. That's a good thing. I'm glad they at least know who Milverton is and he's not like hiding in the shadows. And I love that Bond's like, I have to let Will know about this. And then, yeah, poor Whiteley, he's just so pure-hearted. He thinks that he can blackmail Milverton, and Milverton's like, nope, not gonna do it. Not gonna go along with it. Sorry. Gonna kill your family anyway because lulz. That's basically it. He's like a cat. Yeah, and he had simple demands. He just wanted... It's interesting that Whiteley being the righteous figure that he is, went and tried to blackmail the House of Lords. It's interesting because that would have been a stain on his career as well. The fact that he was blackmailing and was doing a corrupt action to try to get his bill passed. The fact that he was doing blackmail, that's something too. And so that's part of it, is that Whiteley knows Milverton knows that he tried to blackmail him. And if Whiteley didn't die, then yeah, like William said, the crime was going to come back on him, and it was going to basically put a smudge on his entire career and undo everything he'd been working towards. So he really didn't have a choice at this point. I can't believe he killed that guy, to be honest. I can't believe he actually killed him, because I thought he was just going to stab the wood. And we'll get to that scene here in a minute, but he's like, the best defense is a good offense. Yeah, Whiteley's thinking that, and Milverton's taking it to the next extreme. Milverton's like, I know the best defense is a good offense. That's why I'm going to kill your family, because I'm going to be one step ahead of you. Oh my gosh. And then, yeah, that's the point where Fred notices that something's going on, that he sees Maggie getting killed in the house. And then that's when this other shady figure and this Bane-looking guy show up. And Fred knows who they are. So these are all clearly people in the underworld moving, because Fred knows who these guys are. Bond knows who these guys are. So there's clearly inner workings here, right? God, that does. Sam getting killed was just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking, because yeah, he fell out of the chair and he couldn't move and do anything. And this man's like, if I don't kill and confess to you, then my wife and child are going to get killed. And it's like, God, the animation of Whiteley finding them was really well done and terrifying. So terrifying. Like, that animation of him, like, just so grief-stricken at losing his brother. Like, that's probably been some of the best animation in this series so far, is just showing how horribly sad he is. And then, yeah, the temptation of the devil, that Milverton's like, I'm the devil, and my greatest delight is seeing people fall from grace and seeing this white knight get taken down a peg. He's like, are you going to do it? It's like, this man killed everyone in your family. Or don't you want revenge? Don't you? He just tempts him, like gives him the apple. Don't you want to take revenge on this man? And for a second, I thought one of two things were going to happen. Either one, and I love the snake eye representation, that Milverton's eye is like the snake eye. Like he's the devil himself. Yeah, he says he's pure evil himself. But yeah, for a second, I thought that Whiteley was going to either one, just stab the wood and not kill him and go from there. And then I thought Milverton or somebody would come in and kill Sturridge anyway. Or I thought that Whiteley was going to kill himself. Like, because when he said he couldn't live without his brother, I was like, dude. And that's kind of sad, because I'm like, you built that whole park essentially just for your brother. You didn't care about the other kids in the wheelchairs. You just cared about your brother. I was like, oh, come on. I was like, there's more you could live for, but in the moment, yeah, that's his family and everything is gone. So yeah, in the moment, he's like, what else do I live for? I was doing this all for my brother. And it's like, And then, no, he straight up stabbed him in the neck. And it was so bloody. It was so grisly and bloody. I was like, show. It's like, we're not messing around anymore. Nope. That was gory, y'all. So gory. Ugh. And then, yeah. And then he's Harvey Dent. He's Harvey Dent. He's Two-Face. He has the one face half blood and half not. I was like, it's such a telling moment that he's literally become Two-Face. And Milverton thinks that he's made a villain. The one thing I regret in this episode is we don't get to see Milverton's reaction, right? We don't get to see how Milverton reacts to all this, because Milverton thought, he's like, oh, well, I've ruined this man. He's going to become a new villain now. He's going to become like a serial killer and start a spree of revenge looking for me. It's going to be great. He's going to kill people in the House of Lords probably and stage a big old scene. Milverton probably thought that he had, created a monster. The problem is that a bigger monster than Milverton, Moriarty, found Whiteley next. But yeah, so I really wanted to see Milverton's reaction to all of this. And I'm assuming maybe next episode we will see it, but we don't get to see what Milverton thinks about this whole Lord of Crime taking the blame. And maybe that's part of Milverton's plan too, is Milverton wants Moriarty to be targeted to get rid of him. It's interesting, the whole idea of the list of people that, I guess it's the list of people he wants to corrupt or ruin. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But God, Milverton. The one giant buff dude that's fighting Fred alongside the snake-like man, he's got the white eyes. He's super weird. But I love that Lewis joins in. Lewis is like, Fred's like, I'm bringing a Lewis to a knife fight. Sure thing. Good thing we fight with knives in this world, because that happens to be Lewis's specialty. Oh man. I really was worried for Lewis for just a hot second, because that one guy is super buff and huge, but they managed to get away. They're like, let's leave before things get even more complicated. I thought Moran was going to save Fred. Honestly, I didn't think it would be Lewis. I thought it was going to be Moran to come in, but it was not. I thought Moran was going to come in and shoot at him, but he did not do that. So that's interesting. And then, yeah, in the forest, I love that Whiteley's sitting in the forest covered in blood. And he's like, I killed a man. And Albert's just like, like, what'd you think he just did? He's like, I'm covered in blood, but I don't know if you noticed, but I killed a man. And Albert's like, really? That part was, I almost laughed at that, because I was like, oh, Whiteley. But Whiteley's so disturbed at this point, he's probably not even thinking straight, right? But then, yeah, and Albert, you can tell Albert's sad, because he's like, you were a good man. And this Milverton guy has corrupted you. And even Moriarty's like, Moriarty had a lot of hopes pinned on him, and he's like, nope, fine. I love that William declaring war against Milverton. It's going to be interesting to see how Sherlock plays into all of this, right? Because we have Moriarty versus Milverton now, like where Sherlock's going to fall in all of this. But yeah, this ties back to episode 1. It ties back to the very beginning of the series. It ties back to William being like, well, if you're going to die, give me your life and I'll use it. And he's done that throughout the series. He used that one robber's life. He used other people's lives. A lot of them were willingly given to him. But he's like, fine, if you're going to kill yourself, let's not make it a waste, right? least go out with a bang, right? And he uses him to make the point. And God, when he shows up and the light's streaming on him, and he makes the impassioned speech, and everybody's all on board, like so excited by it, and then he gets stabbed, and that hat stays on really good on William Moriarty, but yeah. But yeah, William, he does the big theatrical Brecht, like does the strings, the wires, lifts up in the air. Patterson has the guards looking at him. It's great. And they're all chasing after him. It's like Jack the Ripper Part 2, right? Everything's all, it ties it all together. The whole Jack the Ripper, the chase scene, everything ties in together. I also want to note, I'm going back to this episode and seeing the knife with the officer, like they had a little bald baby, and the wife, like her ring finger, like the ransom note had a bloody knife with her ring finger on it. Like, what the hell, show? Grisly. Damn. It's just, oh my God. And then, yeah, all the uses of red in this episode, like with blood and with Moriarty's eyes, and the snake with Milverton is red too. It's a red snake, and the red apple. Like, the color red was definitely prevalent in this episode. Oh my God. Ugh. But yeah. And then chasing after Moriarty. And I love that at the end, Whiteley's like, well, maybe you and your brothers can change things. It's like, well, that's the goal. And poor Whiteley just dying there thinking of his brother and like shedding the tears, the solitary tear. I really didn't think Whiteley would die in this. Going into this episode, I didn't think he was going to die. I thought that maybe for a second when they met him up in the woods, when they all met in the woods, I thought maybe Whiteley would join Moriarty's crew. And I was like, what's he going to do in Moriarty's crew? And he kind of does join their crew. It's a one night only gig. It's a temp job. And then, yeah. But I didn't think he was going to die. I didn't think he was going to kill a man at all. I didn't think he was going to kill a man. I didn't think he was going to die. I figured Sam was going to die, but I didn't think it was going to be that grisly. And Milverton, just the king of blackmail. But yeah, and then at the end, Moriarty. And so Milverton's requested that they see him by the sea for evening tea by the sea. I think it's connecting to the OP because there's a shot of the sea in the OP, like in a picture frame. I can't imagine that any conversation with Milverton and Moriarty is going to be... It's going to be great to watch, but I can't imagine it's going to be good. I'm kind of terrified. So, yeah. Yeah, this episode was really good too. Just lots of setup with Milverton, just portraying just the fact that Milverton does not mess around. That Milverton is not only one step ahead, getting all this big murder thing planned out, but that he cannot be negotiated with. He is pure evil. And that's the argument of the necessary evil versus pure evil. Milverton's like, I am pure evil. I don't care about your negotiations. I'm going to do what I want, and I don't care what you think. And that's terrifying, because if you can't reason with him, it's like, what are we going to do? And then you have Moriarty, who frames himself as the necessary evil. Like, we're doing what's necessary to change society, and if we have to be the bad guys to do it, so be it. And with Milverton, he's like, I'm not trying to change society. Like, Milverton seems pretty okay with the status quo. That's why he doesn't like Moriarty. He's just like, I'm just evil. I'm just wanting to watch the world burn. It's like... So, yeah. So, I guess not a 3-parter, definitely a 2-parter, but we got 4 episodes left. I don't know what we're going to do. Milverton is obviously our antagonist at this point. Milverton is the antagonist of Moriarty. Again, where Sherlock is going to fall into all of this is very intriguing. Like, I'm like, is Moriarty going to try to keep Sherlock out of this because he doesn't want him involved in Milverton because Milverton doesn't care who he kills? Or is he going to try to recruit Sherlock? Like, how is this going to go? That's the question. That's the curious part. But man, I feel like this episode is telling us, the audience, that things are going to get bloody and gory, so get ready. This is going to become the norm, and it's going to get a little bit dark and twisted from here on in. And I don't know how to think about that. I also like how Whiteley, now that I'm thinking about it, I like how Whiteley, when he saw Albert and Lewis and William, he's like, Albert, you have brothers? And for some reason, it reminded me of Batman versus Superman, where he's like, your mother's name's Martha? You have brothers too? It's like, yep. And so that's another reason why I think Whiteley goes along with it too, because he sees these brothers and their bond, and he thinks of him and his own brother. So yeah, I don't know where we're going with these last 4 episodes, but we're in the final act, y'all. We've set up Milverton as our antagonist. Sherlock's gonna have to get involved, I'm sure. Moriarty has pinned himself as the true lord of crime and the causer of all evil in London. It's all being set up. And now it's like, what do we do with all the pieces? Now they're all set up on the board, so what's our next move? So I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction. This was a really good episode. I'm excited to talk with y'all about it, but please leave a comment down below. Please no spoilers, but in the meantime, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with episode 21 of Moriarty the Patriot. Bye.